Hey, this is Brent Jensen, and you're listening to No Sleep Till Sudbury, the show where we talk about the music that makes your skin vibrate. The show is brought to you by Pariah Pickups, handcrafted guitar pickups made with lots of love down in Detroit Rock City. Check them out, pariahpickups.com. Well, how about that? We hit the 200th episode mark, and the No Sleep Till Sudbury podcast turns 4 this month. Since the first episodes were recorded in March 2017, the show has grown so much, and I've grown right along with it. The people I've met, the experiences that I've enjoyed have been rewarding beyond words. It's a genuine privilege to share musical perspectives with the guests that I've had and to hear their stories. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're sad, always informative, and usually pretty personal. And looking back over the 199 episodes that we've done, I'm proud that we've covered as much territory as we have. When COVID hit last year, I wasn't sure how to continue with the show, or quite honestly, if I even would. But as we all did, the show pressed on. We found a way, as we always do. And with a few exceptions, episode 200 focuses mostly on moments from the last 50 shows, just because episodes 100 and 150 did the same. And while I'm fortunate to have enjoyed enough of these moments over No Sleep Till Sudbury's history to do a show that could last an entire day or more, most of us just don't have that kind of time. So, here's the next best thing. This is a collection of some of the moments that make No Sleep Till Sudbury something I continue to be inspired by, am thankful for, and something I'm very proud of. Now let's kick it off with some stories. I've been told some great stories on this show over the years, and I dug up some recent favorites of mine. I loved this one from episode 165. It's Kim Mitchell telling me about him opening for Van Halen in Rochester, and how his lighting guy almost got him kicked off the tour. And after that one, Erica M. talks about driving U2 around Toronto in her mom's Firebird from episode 170. And then after that, her old Much Music colleague, Christopher Ward, tells me in episode 177 about the time Robert Plant invited he, Alana Miles, and Mike Myers out for dinner at Spago in West Hollywood.
I have a good story about that, actually. You can edit this out if you want, but
no, take your time.
This was a funny moment. We played with him in Rochester, and my lighting guy and my sound guy and I'm on side of the stage, on Eddie's side, and they're playing away it's an afternoon show. And Eddie has his like sort of amble case, picture amble case with all these different drinks, like Gatorade, there's water, there's this or that, there's probably Jack Daniels, whatever there was. And he comes over and he runs over in between a song, and we're kind of standing there, and he goes, and he says, he looks at us all, he goes, "Oh my God," he says, "it sounds like shit up here today." And my lighting guy goes, "Oh yeah, you should hear it out there." and then he puts this big look at his face like, "What?" Because
oh no!
It's like I looked at my lighting guy and I'm like, "Dude, what did you just say?" Like, what? Oh my God! Oh man, that's so funny.
So next, Erica, is U2 and I Will Follow. Tell me about that.
That was the band that made me fall in love with innovative music. So this album came out while I was working at Shom FM, while I was DJing in bars.
Okay.
And U2 did their first gig in Montreal at the Club Montreal. Now, I was also DJing at a club called Blues.
Okay.
And it was my favorite song, I Will Follow. Was like, I had the single and I had I think it was like colored vinyl single of it. So when they were coming, I was freaking out. No one really knew who they were. And so I went there in the afternoon when they did their sound check. And I walked up to Bono at the time and I said, "Hi, my name's Erica. I love you so much." But it was kind of cooler than that.
Yeah.
I was very new wave and punk. I had the best leather pants, ripped shirts. I was into Susie and the Banshees, Gang of Four.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I was DJing in alternative clubs.
Yeah.
So he was really nice. And he said, "You should keep in touch with us." And I think the manager gave me his phone number.
Wow.
Or something. And they were playing in Ottawa that next night. So I called the manager and I said, can I come?
Yeah.
And he goes, sure. So I drove to Ottawa the next day and ended up going backstage with the band.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just so polite. They're not pigs like a lot of bands. They're just, and I was never a groupie. I just wanted to be around the magic.
Yeah.
So I was backstage with them. I stayed out really late.
Okay.
I drove back to Toronto and I slept in. And I remember that I got fired from at my job at the record store. Oh, I was working at Sam's at that time,
Okay.
Sam the record man at the time in Montreal. And they fired me because I slept in.
Oh.
But I thought it was a valiant way to lose one's job.
Yeah.
Was to be spending time backstage with U2, who no one had heard of at the time. Like they were playing at Barrymore's at the time, small little bar in Ottawa.
That must have been an exciting time to watch them because, this is 81, I want to say. And, Larry Mullen looked like he was 12 at that time. These guys had this fire, I remember, live, right?
And they were God-fearing, kind, generous, nice guys.
Wow. Gee, that's good to know.
Okay, I actually ended up spending the night with all of them. And my girlfriend and I, when we drove to Toronto a few years later, drove my mom's car all the way to Toronto. I'd never been to Toronto. We arrived there. We called them because we had their phone number, and they went, sure, here's a couple of backstage passes. Come and watch the band. And after the show, they said, where are you guys staying? And we were like, we didn't even know that Toronto was so far. Because we came from Montreal, my girlfriend, Ava.
Yeah.
And they were like, we'll put you up. No problem.
Wow. That's awesome.
Honestly, the nicest guys.
Wow.
The nicest guys. And I drove them around in my mom's yellow Firebird. We were all at the Domino Club, which I'd never been to. I was just, Bono said when we were backstage, does anyone have a car? I was like, I do.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
go then. So they all got in my car because I don't drink and I don't party. So I'm safe to drive around. And we went to the Domino Club, and that's when they said, where are you girls staying? And it was like 2:00 in the morning. And we were like, we didn't even think about where we would sleep. It didn't even cross our minds.
That is crazy. Now,
nicest guys.
You likely spoke to Bono through Much Music years after this, I'm imagining.
Never.
Oh.
Ever would they let me interview him.
Why?
Because they thought that I would get all gush, which I wouldn't have.
But
anyway,
I would think that
damn those Much Music people.
Well, seriously, I would think that your relationship with him previous would add an interesting dimension to the interview, wouldn't it?
I never, ever got to interview them at Much. But people always think I have because I talked about them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Alana was opening up for Robert on tour in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And Alana and I had been a couple for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
But we had broken up, during the making of the record, conveniently enough. I mean, a true rock and roll moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we actually, the thing with she and I was kind of different. We actually got along better as a result. We just, I just ended up picking her up on the way to work as opposed to leaving from the same apartment. It was like everything else just continued as was, which was great. So, when she became Robert Plant's girlfriend, I mean, I was delighted for her. It, kept her hands busy and, she had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked me and a group of my friends, he was like, oh, bring your friends. It was an open invitation to go to Spago, which at the time was Wolfgang Puck's very first restaurant in West Hollywood and his signature restaurant and a very sort of hip place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, this would be great, So we went and I had a few friends with me, including Dave Tyson, who was Alana's producer,
mm-hmm.
and Mike Myers was along as well. And having dinner with Robert Plant in a, sort of chic place like that I would imagine would be kind of like dining with Henry VIII.
Okay.
It was like, more wine for all my rock and roll friends and, flagons of this and trays of that. And, and he's just so larger than life, but he's delightful about it. And he's very self-aware and he's just a funny and sweet guy. And he knows he's this legendary character and that he has to live up to that. And he does it in spades. And it was a fantastic evening and lots of laughs. It was capped off with Wolfgang Puck obsequiously bringing out pizza that was custom made in the shape of a double neck guitar.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you gotta like that, huh?
Yeah.
So that was great. And then at the end of the dinner, Alana and Robert were swanning around Spago, talking to people at various tables and things.
Mm-hmm.
While Mike and Dave and I went out to the valet parking. We were looking at each other and going, wow, that was a pretty memorable night. And actually during the dinner at one point, Mike looked over at me and mimed, like making notes, like he's going to use this, which I have no doubt he did. Probably in Wayne's World too. But so we're standing there. This is sort of the capper to the story. We're standing outside, marveling at this experience. And who comes out but Don Rickles and his wife, and he's going, "Hey, honey, do you know who that was? The guy with the broad, and the long hair? Yeah, that was Led Zeppelin. We was having dinner with, hey, what do you think, honey? That was Led Zeppelin." We're just standing there going, can the weird get any weirder?
That is so great.
Oh, but the best part, the button on the story is that Robert stuck me with the bill.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. No. That's what rock stars do, Brent. So don't dine with them. That's all I can say, man.
Good Lord, really? I'm surprised to hear that.
It was worth it, though. A story like this, it's worth many times the cost of the meal and the flagons of wine for all my rock and roll friends.
Oh man! Recent episode 195. Jeremy White tells me about how Yngwie Malmsteen almost killed him.
Do you know Yngwie Malmsteen almost killed me?
What?
Yeah, I almost got murked by Yngwie Malmsteen.
What happened?
I was at his concert about over 10 years ago now. I was at Club Soda in Montreal.
Okay.
And he's on stage. He's got his wall of Marshalls, and he's playing his Ferrari Strad. And
yeah.
Now he's throwing guitar picks left and right into the frickin' crowd. Okay.
Okay.
He throws a guitar pick up and he kicks it with his boot.
Oh.
It flew right into my throat.
No way.
I'm not kidding you. Like, shoots, he scores. It went right to the back of my throat. I'm choking. I'm like literally choking. I'm like, I didn't even notice. I'm like, what the fuck what is this?
Yeah.
And I finally cough it up and it's in my hand. And it was an Yngwie Malmsteen guitar pick.
What a bizarre story. What the did he see that? Did he know he did?
No, he didn't see it. But the true story, my buddy Bruce was with me. And I fit it up and he looked at my hand and looked at me. He's like, dude. It was like one of those like Wayne's World moments.
Seriously.
Yeah. So Yngwie Malmsteen almost murdered me. Yeah.
In addition to great stories, I also often hear a lot of interesting facts and tidbits from artists I grew up listening to, which is definitely one of the coolest things about doing this show. In episode 167, Spoon singer Gord Depp lets me in on a little secret about vinyl pressing. And from episode 191, Go-Go's bassist Kathy Valentine explains the origins of that unorthodox hand clap in their hit Head Over Heels. And then after that, Steve Gorman from the Black Crowes lets me in on some intel regarding the recording of their Amorica record from episode 147.
And if you go on, here's another cool thing. Maybe people don't know this, but on vinyl, especially in the old days, on the middle ring around, where the label is on a record.
Yeah.
There's usually a number there that's etched by hand by the lacquering place.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you were there, they would let you put something there, like write it in.
Seriously?
Yeah. Well, look at some of your old albums. You'd be amazed what you find.
Oh,
and he said, "Do you have anything you want to put there?" And I thought, I couldn't think of anything. So I kind of made the A side, the first episode of The Prisoner, and the second side, the other side. So if you look carefully, it says Arrival, which is the first episode. And if you look on the back side, it says Departure. I don't think the last one is called Departure, but it just made sense.
Okay, so before we get into the songs that make your skin vibrate, Kathy, I have a music geek question for you as a Go-Go's fan.
Mm-hmm.
Will you indulge me on this?
Of course.
So this is something I always wondered about ever since the 80s when I first heard the song. So the song Head Over Heels, I think you wrote that with Charlotte Caffey, right?
Uh-huh.
So whose idea, I've always wondered this, it's a stupid question, but I got to ask you, whose idea was it to put that hand clap in Head Over Heels?
It's so funny because only one other person has asked me that. So I've got my answer ready because I had to think about it. And I can't say with 100% certainty, but I can say with probably 80% certainty that was Martin Rushent's idea.
Okay.
He was our producer, and he has passed away. Tragically, I never got to see him or talk to him again after we made that record. But Martin really liked this, the Lynn drum machine.
Yes.
No, not the Lynn, the Oberheim. That's what that sound was. And, we had to kind of come to a truce that we didn't want a bunch of synthesized, drum machine sounds on our record. And he had to, accept that. But we also had to accept that he might have some ideas here and there. So I think that was his idea to put it there. And I'm not quite sure what made it. I think it's on the fifth beat.
That's the weird thing. That is the weird thing, Kathy, is that it's used in such an unorthodox way, but it totally works, because when you first hear it, you think, what was that? And then it disappears. And then it comes back again on the fifth beat. And you're like, it shouldn't be on the fifth beat. Where is it now? Like, it's really cool, actually. I've always thought that.
It is good. And it's really funny live still. You can tell, like, the diehard fans, they know where to put it. Like, they'll do it with yeah. And you'll see other people, like, not know where to put it or not even know that it's there.
Going back to Downtown Money Waster, so both versions are pretty different. And I always wondered when I heard Amorica's version, it kind of sounds like, there's maybe the influence of some chemicals going on in there. But like, just because it's...
Yeah, I wasn't there. I didn't play on that.
Oh, really?
That was, Johnny and I finished the album. They were mixing the album.
Yeah.
And Johnny and I had already gone back to Atlanta. And then I think Eric Bobo was in the studio adding congas to something one day, and then they just whipped that thing together and had Bobo play whatever he played on it. And it's all over the place time-wise. I mean, it's got some weird time signatures and it moves around. But I remember being sent that version, and I just thought, what the hell is this? I was like, well, what is this? And I thought, this is a great B-side. It's a classic thing to add on the Japanese import. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
And suffice to say, when Chris wanted it on the track listing, I thought it was, why? What are you talking about? Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. But I had I was far more concerned with the album cover than the second to last song on the album not being my favorite.
To keep things interesting, I've been adding twists to the show's standard format of talking about 5 songs that make your skin vibrate, and guests seem to really enjoy playing along with this stuff. In these next clips, we all had some good fun. From episode 175, Honeymoon Suite's Johnny D and Derry Gran try to guess each other's songs from their previous appearances on the show. And then a bit later in episode 183, Gord and Sandy from the Spoons do the same.
Gotta remember, Derry's got, in a song, every song, most great songs are like 3 minutes, 50 seconds, sometimes 4 minutes if you want to take a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Derry's got probably a minute tops. So think about it. I got to do a vocal. His guitar solo should be a continuation of my vocal. And he needs to do it in a very short period of time. And so these guitar players that you mentioned, they all do it. And it's like, so yeah, he's had great influences, and it shows.
That's a great point. Now, that would lead to a question.
Well, I can go on further. Sorry, Brent. It's like I've met other guitar players that just want to get up and start wailing away, playing all these notes. It's like there's no melody in here. Meanwhile, this is not what we are. So I'm giving a great compliment to Dermot to be able to do that.
Thank you, Johnny. It's like I think I mentioned this earlier, Brett. That like a solo is just got to be like another verse in the song. It's got to sing, and it's got to have its own identity. And it's not how many notes; it's which notes you play.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I was going to ask. So, Darius, does that go through your mind? So when you listen to the song and, you go to write your solo for it, does, how you convey the solo line up with the lyrics of the song at all?
I think that vocals are just wasted time in between guitar solos.
What?
That's just, no, I'm only kidding. That's the guitar player.
Yeah, it's definitely a guitar player thing. Well, let me interject. If you go off on a tangent, I'll be the first one to tell you. Anyways, there you go.
It's a theme song for a TV show that influenced you when you first came here. And you've got to be able to guess it. When you first moved here, you were so influenced by and freaked out by watching. There's two things you were watching.
A TV show? Like the
became very popular.
Partridge Family or the Monkees or
no.
Oh, so it's not like there's not musicians in the playing parts of. Well, the Twilight Zone wouldn't have a singer, so it's not that. I used to watch the Twilight Zone. Let me see what else.
Getting closer.
You're getting closer.
Really?
What were you freaked out by watching when you first came over?
Star Trek?
Yep.
There's a theme in there?
Theme song for Star
Trek. But nobody's singing in that. Are you just thinking the melody?
Yeah, the singing part of it. I used
to
practice against it to get my vocal cords to go higher.
You know what?
Oh, I didn't know
Now that you mention it, that kind of sounds like you in there, doesn't it? If you look at the opening of the Arias album, the Trade Winds, you kind of do that in there too.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Really? The melody?
Yeah. How's it going? Can you give us a little taste?
Oh, I can't remember the lyrics. I was reading through the lyrics.
I mean, just give us the part.
Oh. No, don't do that. I can't even get that high now.
That's it.
But it's up there now.
It's creepy.
So now you used to warm up your voice with that?
When I was younger, I used to use that just to learn to get higher and higher.
That is so cool.
Very, very cool.
Little known fact.
Very informative.
Yeah, right? Who knew?
Yeah.
Sometimes guests actually give me an opportunity to get in on the fun and talk about the music that makes my skin vibrate. In this next clip from episode 197, featuring Honeymoon Suite and Roger Hodgson keyboardist Ray Coburn, he does it more out of good-natured spite, really.
Who are a few of your favorites? I know it's a really impossible question, but I owe it to you because at first I was like, well, shit, this is a nasty thing for Ben to do to make me pick 5 songs. So give me a few of your favorite songs, albums, bands.
For his annual Christmas episode series from his home last year, episode 189, Triumph frontman Rick Emmett actually asked me for 5 songs that I could talk about, and then he deconstructed them for me to explain why they made my skin vibrate. That was pretty cool. Hey, come on. You knew Rick Emmett would pop up somewhere in this thing. What would a compilation episode be without a contribution from Uncle Ricky?
And I think your Planet Caravan choice is kind of an obvious example, and also a good one because that's not what you'd expect from Black Sabbath. So right away, you're getting this violation of your expectation.
That's it.
But you're getting it from an audio point of view.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a good choice. It was, not as good as the next one I am but it's good.
And that is Alfie.
Oh, this is the one, buddy.
So
this is my tune of the whole list right
here. Is it?
Oh, yeah. Like, this is just such an amazing song. You picked a song we're going to come up to, which features, I'm not going to say the song yet because I don't want to give it away, but it's the vocalist Marcus King.
Yes.
And he's got this kind of tone in his voice. He's just this guy, like he's so authentic. It's so rich, you know? And he's a young guy, but he's really got that thing, that vibe in his voice. And his guitar on that track is just so incredibly thick and rich and in that ballpark. So a guy of my age, I go, oh yeah, that just goes directly to my gonads. Like that is just so amazing.
I figured you'd either absolutely love that or be dismissive and say, no, it's
No, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
So we are seduced by the dynamic range of things, not just emotionally, but also sonically, right? Pitch can also play into preference. Some people can't stand the thumping low beats of modern hip hop. The guy, he drives his car and you can still hear it 4 blocks away.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Others can't stand what they describe as the high-pitched whininess of violins. Or when I was young, Rick Emmett's voice, it sounds like Geddy Lee. It sounds like a rake on a sidewalk. Yeah. That was once in a review.
What?
Oh, yeah. A reviewer once said, oh, his voice kind of sounds like a rake on a sidewalk.
Which record?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Pick any one of the early Triumph ones. I had a pretty high voice.
Well, I know.
And so did Geddy.
Well, sure. Yours wasn't as high as his, though.
I sang high notes. I just didn't sing them with the same tone.
I was listening to Allied Forces on the way over here, actually.
Oh yeah,
Good Taste of Soprano.
I think that was one of our best records. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite.
I sang the shit out of a few things on that.
You really
I
did.
sang pretty good.
Yeah.
But go to the end and fight the good fight, my friend, and tell me that Geddy Lee sang any higher than me. I'm sorry, he did not. I hit some notes in there that I think only dogs actually react.
Oh, the third verse is like, towards the end.
The tag?
Oh, yeah.
No, of your lifetime, every day.
That's it.
Those are high, man.
I was going to ask you to play that on my way over.
I can't do it in those keys anymore, I'll tell you that.
Recording those episodes with Rick was a lot of fun. I really enjoy the exchanges that I have with my guests, and I pulled up a few more of those for you here. Episode 172 with my pal Tom Jokic, my conversation with Widemouth Mason drummer Safwan Javed from episode 176, and then going all the way back to episode 28, when Def Leppard guitarist Phil Collins surprised me by telling me who his favorite band was. All right, Tom, that is your list, my friend. Well done.
Well, thanks. It's been a real pleasure. And, hey, can we talk about the song that makes my skin crawl?
We can. We can. It's, I believe it's Starship, We Built This City, is it not?
Yeah, it sure is. And it's just one of the songs. It's my least favorite song in the history of music. And there's so many reasons for it. But one of them is for a band with such an important history, as in the Jefferson Airplane, to evolve into something that did such a trite and meaningless song as We Built This City was just shocking to me. And I hate everything that song stands for, including this faux waving the flag for rock and roll and it almost corporate rock and roll, when originally that band was the antithesis of what they had become. And I hated it. That song is just the worst, and I could go on forever, but I know we're out of time.
Way to finish on a negative.
My kids have already told me that, Dad, at your funeral, we're playing that song just to piss you off.
Oh, that's terrible. That's awful.
I know, it's kind of funny, though.
Tom, you know what? I'll run in with a boombox and I'll crank Detroit Rock City and I'll drown them out.
That's the way to do it.
How about that? If I'm still around, I'll do it. I promise.
All right, my man.
All right. Tom Jokic, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing
pleasure.
this. All right.
All right. Take care, Brent.
You too. This has been No Sleep Till Sudbury with Brent Jensen and my very special guest, Mr. Tom Jokic. Until next time, folks. Kool Moe Dee kind of came onto my radar with Wild Wild West because I thought it was just like, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. I was like, who is this dude? It was hilarious. And then I got into it with I Go to Work. And he had, if I remember correctly, I think he had a feud with LL Cool J. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There were always beefs, which was also great drama, right? It was so entertaining. Like LL Cool J, I feel like had beefs with several guys. Like I think he had beef with, I can't remember it, but I feel like he had beef with at least 3 or 4 guys that I can recall. But it was like the Eric B. and Rakim era, the Big Daddy Kane era, Slick Rick. There are so many crazy, fun personalities, and all of them were just like hyping themselves. And how could you not have drama come out of that? It's very entertaining.
But it was kind of fun back then too, right? It was almost like, I'd liken it to like WWF, like you said, like all the different characters, and they all have these feuds with each other. And if you look at, what is the record, How You Like Me Now? If you look at the album for that, it's Kool Moe Dee standing in the foreground. In the background, there's a Jeep, and under the front tire is that trademark Kangol hat that LL Cool J used to wear. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's pretty funny, seriously. Right under the front tires, it's like, how you like me now?
Pretty subtle.
Your next tune, Phil, is by The Police, and it's Walking on the Moon.
Right, The Police are my favorite all-time band. That's the
really
thing. And, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think Sting was and sometimes is my favorite songwriter. I think he can walk the line of actually great songwriting and pop silliness. I mean, he can really do the extreme. He actually can go. He can get a little blasé, and he can do anything he wants, like, from a songwriting point of view.
Sorry, it's funny you say that, Phil, because I've always said that the Sting's true talent was being able to, write lyrics where he rhymed things like forenza and influenza, and
right. Absolutely, he can do whatever he wants. He could be silly, one minute, and then Every Breath You Take is one of the classic songs of all time.
Yeah.
And, Walking on the Moon, though, actually done something to me as well. It was a goosebump thing. As much as I would go, I wish I'd wrote Every Breath You Take. It's Walking on the Moon that sends shivers down my spine. And I think it was the sound of the band and everything, just so haunted, and just the vibe of the whole thing, and the space and the Andy Summers, everything about it, that they were a true hybrid. They took the reggae thing and the rock thing, and it came out in the punk era. So it just had a bit more venom in it as well. It had a lot more fire than guys who normally. These guys were like jazz guys. They all played in jazz bands before, but there was an absolute fire in the playing. Like Stuart Copeland, one of my favorite drummers of all time.
Yeah.
When you put those three in together, it just done magical things. And whenever I hear the band, that's again goosebump time. I know I keep saying that, but it's the Police do that every time I hear them play. I got to see them when they reformed, and I thought it was magical. It's my favorite band, and so I would say that. But I do think Sting's the most amazing songwriter, and he can write a classic, or make a silly pop song, or both. So it's
he's not afraid to laugh at himself. I like that. On his I can't remember the name of the song, but on his later solo stuff, it was the outro of the song, and he said, every breath you take, every cake you bake, every egg you break, and he was kind of like making fun of every breath you take and stuff like that. Like he's just, that's his thing, right?
Absolutely. I there's in like stories. There's a song on one of his solo albums. Is it Hung My Head? I think it's almost like a country song. But it's more than that. Instead of just doing, I hate the way where country has gone now. It's kind of taken the great elements out of country and western, which was like a story, a real heartfelt, warm story, and it's got really commercial and icky. And I think with this song Hung My Head, it's a story about this father and son or riding out on their horses, and it's you pay attention to it because it's such supreme songwriting, and I just listening to the lyrics, and I think that someone can make you sing along, and on another song they can actually make you focus on the lyrics. That's a true test of a great songwriter. So I can't say enough about Sting as a songwriter. I think he doesn't get enough credit for that.
Yeah. I think another thing he doesn't get enough credit for, Phil, is his bass playing. He is a fantastic, if you listen to, any one of those Police songs, you really listen to the isolated bass line. It's fantastic.
It really is. And I think it's got such a confidence and prominence, and, there's a real power to it. It's really hardcore. It's very punk rock. Yeah. I don't mean that I'm talking about the approach of it. It's like, it's very unapologetic, and it's very, you hear him whenever, I love his bass playing. It's great.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can sing that stuff while he's playing is kind of, it's Geddy Lee territory.
Exactly, right? So the bass lines are intricate on their own, and then at the same time, he's actually singing. So
crazy.
Yeah. So impressive. 3 masterclass musicians for sure in the Police. Great band.
Definitely.
COVID has provided some real challenges to No Sleep Till Sudbury in terms of hosting guests in an in-person live capacity. And that's meant missing out on another of my favorite aspects of doing the show, which is having guests perform live. But we did manage to get in a couple of performances during the Steam Whistle sessions in November 2020. Here's my pal Stephen Stanley doing a new song of his called The Owl from episode 186. And following that is R&B singer Sandra Boza from an episode that was actually recorded in December 2019 and lost for almost a year. When it was recovered, it would become episode 180.
So it's called The Owl.
I love the song. Please, go ahead.
Thank you. gal appeared the day after you were gone, up by the bridge on Woodbine Avenue. Hanging on a branch, could hardly support its own weight. A flock of minor birds singing, hey, when you gonna go away? As I carried on, his old eyes followed my steps, and I couldn't catch my own breath. And that damn little voice in my head saying, did this have to be that day? And it spoke to me as it jammed my reception. Say there ain't gonna be no resurrection. And it carried on with just a hint of inflection, singing everything worth knowing is sitting in your record collection. Everything worth knowing is sitting in your record collection. And the major key, it's a minor affliction of the heart. So tell me, how did this start? When you transplanted all of those things, and you taught a city how to sing, saying we gotta change everything, and we're gonna change everything, and we're gonna love everything. And it spoke to me as it jammed my reception. Say there ain't gonna be no resurrection. And it carried on with just a hint of inflection, singing everything worth knowing is sitting in your record collection. Everything worth knowing is sitting in your record collection. At least they know your story as you cast lots, the small and the great, yeah. And in a blaze of glory, they spoke of you for 40 nights and 40 days, yeah. I don't know how to answer when you ask, how was your day? And sadness like a cancer, it spread so far, but let the music play. And everything worth knowing is sitting in your record collection. Everything worth knowing is sitting in your record collection. Everything worth knowing is sitting in your record collection. Everything worth knowing is sitting in your record collection.
It's called Time for Me to Go. Tell me the truth, babe, do I still make your blood boil? Tell me the truth, babe, would you still ring around the world for me now? Tell me the truth, babe, when's the last time that you screamed my name? Tell me the truth, babe, is it more passion or just pain? I don't wanna argue no more, I ain't got nothing left to fight for. I don't know how we got here, but it's time for me to go. I don't wanna argue no more, I ain't got nothing left to fight for. I don't know how we got here, but it's time for me to go. You come to me now slow, with your head down low. You say, honey, I got some things on my mind. Yeah, I'd like to find the time to set aside and maybe figure it out. Let's have a conversation. But I say, I don't wanna argue no more, I ain't got nothing left to fight for. I don't know how we got here, but it's time for me to go. Yeah, I don't wanna argue no more, I ain't got nothing left to fight for. I don't know how we got here, but it's time for me to go. Maybe, oh, you taught me something, oh, and maybe I was good for you too. Oh, maybe our time has come. Still, all good things have gotta come to an end. Oh, but I say, I don't wanna argue no more, I ain't got nothing left to fight for. I don't know how we got here, but it's time for me to go. I don't wanna argue no more, I got nothing left to fight for. I don't know how we got here, but it's time for me. Yes, it's time for me. Yes, it's time for me. Time for me. I don't wanna argue no more, I ain't got nothing left to fight for. I don't know how we got here, but it's time for me to go. I don't wanna argue no more, nothing left to fight for. I don't know how we got here, but it's time for me to go. It's time for me. Yeah, it's time for me. It's time for me to go. Yeah.
Yes. What a voice. Here's a little extra. One of those little moments from the show that are unforgettable for me. Sandra very graciously offers to sing a verse from one of my favorite songs, To Sir With Love, in a cappella. Talk about skin vibration.
All right, you want to hear To Sir With Love?
Yes, give me one verse.
Okay.
A special
It's been a
treat.
while.
We're like going off the rails here with this.
Hope it goes well. Those schoolgirl days of telling tales and biting nails are gone. But in my mind, I know that they will still live on and on. But how do you thank someone who has taken you from crayons to perfume? It isn't easy, but I'll try. If you wanted the sky, I would write across the world in letters that would soar 1,000 feet high to serve with love. Do, 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 do.
I can't even talk.
God, I love that song.
Oh my God.
I love that song.
I don't even know what to say. That was incredible.
Thank you.
All right, I've got one more clip for you now. This is going all the way back to episode 72 and the great Ron Mclean. Ron and I have had some deep and meaningful conversations about music, both on and off the air over the years. And the raw sentimentality that he shares when he talks about his favorite music in many ways perfectly embodies what I had hoped to achieve when I first started this podcast 4 years ago. Honest, genuine conversation about how music really makes us feel. And for me, this clip says it all. Okay, next is Jerry Rafferty in Baker Street. I love this tune too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, your book, All My Favorite People Are Broken. I have a fair number of people that are broken that I adore. You're going to hear 2 in a row, I think, here.
Yeah.
Jerry Rafferty is, he died, I don't know at what age, I think 62, but, he fell victim to alcohol addiction and such a great, this song itself speaks for itself. The harmonies, the melody, it's, I love, for me as a broadcaster, that line of, you used to say that it was so easy. You used to think that it was so easy, but you're trying. You're trying now.
Yeah.
Another year and then you'd be happy. Another year, one more year and you'd be happy. But you're crying. You're crying now. God, I love the sax. I love the lyrics. I love everything about the album. Even Steeler's Wheel, everything he ever did was beyond belief. Stuck in the Middle with You.
Oh, yeah.
You're a Star. Yeah, Jerry for me, because he was a broken human being, when he sings right down the line, knowing it was another time he'd fallen off the wagon and he disappointed his loved one, and he's scrambling through song to write thank yous and to write apologies and just revealing so much of his heart. And he had, some bitterness in him. Funny, you and I were talking before the show about Paul McCartney, and I think he thought the Beatles were overrated. I don't think he was really a very exacting, very demanding musician, Jerry. He didn't appear in America. He wouldn't take the bait and take money and play in the United States.
Really?
Oh, God.
I didn't know that.
He was an introvert. I think, partly because he was a functional alcoholic. He just couldn't do the tour. I shouldn't say that without knowing it fully, but I do know that he had that darkness, right? He had a little bit of blackness in his cynicism. But again, as I keep coming back to Heraclitus, is the great philosopher who said, "We are not this or that; we are both." And he was able to muster these most beautiful songs. I could go on and on about all of them, but Baker Street, I always, when I'm driving Brent and Baker Street comes on and it finishes and I know he died tragically, I always pet the dashboard. Stupid thing, but I pet the dashboard.
Really?
Yeah, and I say, "You did a good job, Jerry. You did a good job."
That's great.
Even now I get emotional thinking about it. Yeah.
I love that. There you have it, my friends. Episode 200 is now in the books. As always, I thank you very sincerely for your loyalty over the years. And I want to give a special shout out to my sponsors too. Pariah Pickups down in Detroit City and Steam Whistle Brewery. It's because of all of you that the show continues. And speaking of which, keep an eye on my Facebook and Instagram pages for a special announcement in the coming weeks. I'm going to be opening up the vault and introducing some new things very shortly. All right, this has been the 200th episode of No Sleep Till Sudbury with Brent Jensen. Till next time, folks, take good care.
Brent Jensen is the best-selling author of No Sleep Till Sudbury, Leftover People, and All My Favorite People Are Broken. All titles available in stores and on Amazon worldwide.